Hey everyone, we are going to do a quick intro video today. I'm Ben.
And I'm Sarah, and our van is Maggie, and we're Blank Slate Adventures.
Yeah, so just a quick background on who we are. I was an elementary PE teacher before we decided to quit our jobs and build and move into a van.
And I worked for Amazon Web Services, and I'd done that for about 8 years, and also quit my job before we moved into the van. Yeah.
Yikes.
But
That's great.
I think a little bit about our path to van life. So we met in 2017 in the fall, and we got married a year and 4 days later in fall of 2018. And we had actually, from like our earliest dates, we talked about living in a tiny home. I think we asked each other what would be your dream house, and we both said that living in a tiny house would be something that would interest us.
It's very high on the list still.
Yeah, and that kind of morphed over time through the early years of our marriage into van life for multiple reasons. And yeah, the process, it was a bit of a process to get from there to living in the van.
Yes. Like I said, we quit our jobs. I was an elementary PE teacher. We didn't quit our jobs because we were unhappy. We quit our jobs to have this experience. We didn't own a home. We don't own a home. We don't have pets. We don't have children. So we were pretty free, pretty low on the obligations list of things that were tying us to where we were living in Seattle. Not that we, didn't enjoy our friends and our apartment and our jobs and things like that, but it's an opportunity to reevaluate all of those things. Reevaluate, do we want to live here? Do we want to buy a home and really settle here? Do we want to live elsewhere? Do we want to be doing the jobs that we're doing? Tell a little bit about your experience with working for Amazon.
Yeah, I started working for Amazon just out of school, and I worked there for 8 years in different jobs, and actually really enjoyed my experience there. I had great teams and interesting work, and I think one thing I wanted to do was to get a little bit of perspective, kind of zoom out from being really into that work and get that perspective of being away from it and understanding if that's the type of work that I want to continue to do or not. It felt like being away from that was really important. It's hard to reflect when you're really close. So I also quit my job. We both asked for leaves of absence that didn't work out. Yeah. It's a long time, a year or so, but I think we're both glad that it worked out that way. It was a blessing in disguise to not have those leaves granted, because we would be going back to work in those jobs in the next
less than a month or so. We bought the van in 2019. It's a 2017 Ram ProMaster. You can check out our van tour video. There's some more details, and there's some more information coming on upgrades and other things that have happened since then as well, since we've been on the road. We took about a year to build it out. We were a little naive in the beginning, thought we could build it from the apartment and on the street and in the Home Depot parking lot, and kudos to those people who are able to make that happen. But that was just not something that was going to work for us or people who live in their van and build it. It's amazing. I don't understand how you do it, but again, props to you. So we had a little apartment. We ended up finding a little workshop space that was great. We actually met some good friends of ours, Travels with Kevan. Gene and Caitlin, you two are awesome. They were a big help during our build, as well as a few other people that we met there who were building vans to sell or to live in or travel in. Just a great community of people. It really worked out, but it took us about a year. The pandemic definitely slowed things down, made things, a little harder to get. We were a little ahead of the curve with buying the van and a lot of our supplies, so we didn't get stuck with as many inflation things or supply chain issues, which was really fortunate for us because we were basically, after we got that storage unit, we didn't have a lot of time left before we, moved into the van and quit our jobs and left Seattle. And so, yeah, that's kind of a little bit of the background on the van and the build process and all of that.
Yeah.
You want to talk about some of the other planning we did ahead of time for just travel and living?
Yeah, so building the van was obviously a huge part of it, but also planning to be unemployed without income for a full year is a huge, requires a lot of planning. So we planned for about 2 years, I think, to save up, and we were able to find some really good information from some other longer term van lifers about what to expect to spend on the road when you're traveling full time. And so we used that to establish a budget and a target amount of money that we wanted to have saved before we left on the road. So that served us really well. I think that time of planning financially has given us a lot of peace of mind while we've been on the road.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And things come up. Things, with your van travel, things, opportunities come up, and you make adjustments in your budget for that. And we've had to do that. But having that baseline has been crucial in just peace of mind for us that, we're not going to just all of a sudden run out because we didn't have a plan. So I want to ask you, what is your number one reason for doing van life, for deciding to entertain this crazy, felt like crazy anyway, it's really not, but crazy idea of quitting our jobs and moving into a van for a year?
Just one.
Well, let's start with the top one.
Okay, so I think that the main reason that I was interested in doing van life was that I wanted to just get an opportunity to kind of pause the momentum of my life and take a moment away from, you kind of, sometimes you get on like that track of life and it's like, here we go, or you have a job and you're thinking about buying a house and you're thinking about like getting a dog, like whatever it might be.
Whatever the next step is.
And I think that especially in my career, I had kind of gotten on that path. I feel really lucky that I got on the path that I did working for Amazon. But I got on that path and then time flew by and all of a sudden it had been 8 years and I wanted a chance to reflect on, whether that was what I wanted to be doing. And again, like I really loved that part of my career, but I also, prior to working there, I had other dreams about what to do for work, and I think I am still really interested in pursuing some of those. And I think sometimes taking like a hard stop or making a dramatic change is necessary, because otherwise you're on that track and it's comfortable, and quitting your job and leaving your whole life and living in a van is not comfortable. So sometimes you need to be a little uncomfortable or make yourself a little uncomfortable in order to make a change. It's hard, and I really respect people that make big changes like that, even changing companies, like or changing careers, that you may not be uprooting all of the elements of your life, like it is when you move into a van, but that's hard. Like that takes a lot of courage. So that is my main reason, is getting that ability to reflect. What's your number one reason for uprooting your life and quitting your job and moving into a van?
I would say it is hard to think of just one reason, so I'll do my best as well. But I think the number one thing for us, was being a teacher, the schedule that we had, and some of the outdoor objectives that you and I have, is that can be really difficult to accomplish those together. And so I really wanted to do a lot of snowboarding and see a lot of southern Utah that you've gotten a chance to see on different trips, and just experience those with you. And that's really hard to do as a teacher because your schedules are fixed. And so southern Utah, I'm sure people go in the summer. It's just not the ideal time to be there, especially with the national parks and the crowding. Everyone else is on break, and that's wonderful. People should go see those things. But for us and some of the things that we wanted to do, we just needed more time. More time outside of peak seasons, I feel like, to explore some of these places. And so that was a big part of it. In addition to some of the things you said too, like, I love teaching. I wanted to be a teacher. It was not my first career. I had only been teaching for 5 years. And so I did, family construction before that. And it kind of just was another, moment to take a pause. Like, do I want to keep teaching? Do I want to keep teaching elementary PE? Do I want to teach something else? Do I want to move into admin? I don't really have any of those answers. But being in the van or planning to take a year off gives you the mental space and the freedom, like you said, because you're not just in the grind every day, to figure those things out and figure out, more importantly, I think, like, where we want to live. Where do we want to potentially buy a tiny house or a full-size house? Where do we want to settle down, and try to figure out those priorities that are important to us. Do we want to be in the Seattle area, Washington? Do we want to be closer to family? So those are some of the bigger things for me that were a big driver in deciding to uproot our lives and move into a van. So
awesome. It's interesting to me how we came at it from two very different perspectives. Sometimes when people ask us, that we meet on the road, people ask us, like, well, why did you do this? What was your reason? And it always makes me laugh that the different reasons that we share, but like, we still landed at the same objective and desire. Yeah.
So hopefully that gives you a little bit of info on us. Like I said, we're a little late in doing this, but these are some of the things about us, about our story, about why, about the van and why a van, and what our goals are with this. So subscribe, give us a like, check out some of our other videos coming out. We have the van tour video. We'll have some more videos from some of our explorations and just about general van life or our adventures. See you soon. Yikes. Check. 1, 2. We're in Maine. Wicked good lobster.
Wicked good Maine lobster.
Cut. Check. All right.